Alright guys, gonna come on here and do my Affliction Day of Reckoning predictions. This card is a little bit changed from when it was supposed to take place in October. But it's a good card. I'm gonna go through the main event fights. First fight, Chris Hordesky against Dan Lozon. Hordesky, trains with Sean Tompkins. He's got really good, precise striking. Lozon, I think he's 11-2. Mostly a ground guy. His stand-up is improving. This fight, I see, Lozon, eventually it's going to go to the ground. Hordesky might be winning on the feet. I think Lozon's got more power than he does, though. Hordesky doesn't seem to have really knockout power, or at least one punch or kick knockout power. But eventually it's going to go to the ground, and I think Lozon's top control is going to be a little too much for Hordesky. See the Hordesky fight against Ryan Schultz, where he got put in a bad position, and Schultz just kept the pressure on him, and that's kind of the fighting style that Lozon has. Is he mostly gets top control and puts the pressure on you with punches, and knees and whatever knees to the body or whatever. I see Lozon winning this, probably TKO in the second round. Second fight, Hanato Babalu Sobral against Sokaju. Sokaju coming off of 2 losses. Babalu just won in Strikeforce against Bobby Southworth. Sokaju is one of those guys that, he makes the cut to 205. He throws everything in every one of his punches and kicks. It just seems like his opponents now know, because he does have one punch and kick knockout power, that if his opponents kind of weather the storm a little, he's going to get tired, and then he can take advantage of it. Example would be Luis Kane, who just shook off all and waited to counter him. And Sokaju's not good off his back, so those are two things that I think are going to be a downfall to him in this fight. And Babalu's going to win by sub, probably in the second round. Babalu's got good elbows too. He's got good ground and pound, good wrestler. Babalu TKO. Next fight, Vitor Belfort against Matt Lindland. Lindland's one of those guys where the old school wrestler, you could say like the old Team Quest, like Lindland, Dan Henderson, Randy Couture when he trained there. Lindland is one of those guys that really didn't, he focuses on his wrestling too much. His last fight was not that great in Affliction. Doesn't seem like he's that concentrated on fighting right now. Against Vitor, and I've seen some recent interviews with Vitor where he's pretty complacent where he's at right now. I mean, he's training with Anderson Silva and I think and Shogun, but I know for sure he's training at Extreme Couture. Trains kind of all over the place, and he knows cross training is important, and the drop to 185 is going to help him a lot. His last fight against Terry Martin, he was letting his hands go. He threw a flying knee, and I think the old Belfort is not a good way to fight, even though a lot of people like to see that. I think he's in between, where he is now. I think he's a lot smarter of a fighter. He's still got the athleticism and the power, and Vitor is going to win this by knockout in the second. So, yep. Josh Barnett against Gilbert Ibel. Please, someone tell me why Affliction is having Gilbert Ibel fight for a number 1 contendership against the winner of Fedor Orlovsky's belt. The Llama belt. Why? I know Barnett I really don't get Josh Barnett. He turned down a fight against whatever. Ibel's kind of dangerous as a fighter. I think he's pure, just he's garbage. Not that he's not talented, it's just that the stuff he pulls in the ring is just eye gouging and illegal blows and just not the kind of, fighter I like. Anyways, if Barnett wins this, which I think he will, he won't be on the feet, because Ivel's dangerous there. Knees, flying knees, elbows. He's a good kickboxer. Once it hits the ground, though, it's all Barnett, and he's going to win this by sub in the first round. Main event. Fedor Emelianenko, and you have to do this every time. Make some kind of motion for how awesome he is. Against Andrei Arlovsky. Arlovsky's looked decent in his last 2 fights. Beat the absolute shit out of Ben Rothwell. Against Roy Nelson, he looked okay. It just seems like he's focusing too much on his stand-up game and not enough on his ground game, which is a mistake against Fedor. Fedor's one of those guys where you'll hear the expression all the time. He's good at everything, but not great at one thing. And that's supposed to be, like, downplays somebody's ability. That's Fedor. And you're gonna say that about... You're supposed to be well-rounded. Yes, it helps if you're great at one thing and then cross-train and get decent at other things. But Fedor is good. You want judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing. Fedor's got it, except for kicks. He never throws kicks. But anyways, he doesn't need to. And he's got the heart of a frickin'... I don't know. What has a lot of heart? I don't know. The heart of 6 guys. Or the Grinch. When he... Heart of... What the hell was the line of the Grinch? His heart grew 3 sizes. Or whatever. It's Fedor. Anyways... Arlovsky was in some trouble against Roy Nelson. Roy Nelson had him in side control, and the ref stood it up. If Fedor gets him in side control, it's all over. Sorry to tell you. And until Fedor loses legitimately, I have to pick him in this one. And I'm going to go Fedor sub second round. It's going to happen. Yep. Be back to do... probably the aftermath. I don't know where I'm going to watch this yet. This is kind of, guerrilla style MMA where you don't know what's going to happen. It's like Japan. You don't know who's going to show it, what is going on. It's all chaos, but should be good card. I like Affliction. I don't like how they're attacking the UFC. Like, startup MMA promotion shouldn't just be like, we're going to beat the UFC! Yeah. No, that's not a good idea. Ask Strikeforce and Scott Coker about, maintaining a successful MMA promotion that doesn't compete with the UFC yet. So anyways, great night of fights. Guys, definitely stay metal and believe in the power of one. Evan Tanner. Later.